Hi, hello, how are you? I am so happy you're here. If you are new here, my name is Whitley, and in today's reading vlog, as you may have guessed by my get up, I'm going to be reading as many witchy books as I can get my hands on over the next week. How many am I going to be able to get through? I guess we will find out together. There is something so quintessentially Halloweeny about witches to me. They are synonymous in my mind. I grew up watching Hocus Pocus and Halloween Town every single October. I mean, hell, I still do that. Witches and Halloween are really just a perfect match for me. So I plan on reading nothing but witchy books for the next week, and we will see how many I can actually get through. I do have 3 books that I am hoping to get through this week. First, we have Slewfoot by Brom, the ultimate witchy book, some would say. I have heard nothing but amazing things about this book, and it is on so many people's autumnal recommendations list. So what better time to pick this up than now? This is set in 1666 New England, where a young woman is forced to move to this Puritan village. And when her husband unfortunately passes away, she has absolutely no one until this ancient spirit emerges from the woods. They really form this bond together, they help each other, and they wage war against this Puritan village. I'm thinking it's going to give me some Salem witch trial vibes, maybe some Good for Her revenge, which is right up my alley. I'm so excited. The next one that I would like to get to is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This is another historical witchy book, but this one is YA. We have another young woman growing up in this Puritan village where this prophet's word is law and they treat him as the Holy Father. Emmanuel is doing her absolute best to try to fit into this village, but it's hard when the color of her skin brands her as an outsider. And things take a definite turn when she accidentally ends up in the Forbidden Woods where these witches are rumored to lurk. And there she is gifted with her dead mother's old journal. I think she gets caught up in these like secrets of her mother's past and the witch's past, and in turn, the secrets that her village and her church are hiding. Sounds very gothic, very autumnal. I am very excited to get into this one as well. And lastly, taking a hard turn from the previous 2 books, I really want to get to The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Songu Mandana. I thought I might want something a little more cozy to break up the 2 historicals that I have on this TBR, because historical fiction usually is kind of out of my comfort zone. So I did want something that I was really comfortable with and something that just feels like a warm hug to kind of break these 2 up. This is a cozy paranormal romance that follows a witch named Mika. She posts videos online pretending to be a witch because she thinks, who is ever going to believe that an actual witch is posting videos about being a witch online? But someone does. She is contacted with a request to come tutor these 3 young witches. And there, I believe she finds the most unexpected thing, the thing that she never thought she would find, which is a home. And a romance with a grumpy librarian. This is another highly anticipated book for me. I love a cozy fantasy. I love a found family, and I will never say no to a romance. So I am also so excited to get into this one. All 3 of these authors are also new to me authors. I have not read anything from any of them in the past. So this also kind of doubles as a taste test for each of these authors. I'm really excited to see what each of them has to offer and kind of if their writing is for me. But the biggest question is, will I even be able to finish all of these books before the end of the week? If you'd like to find out, keep watching and come hang out with me for a week. I would absolutely love to have you. What a fire way to start. Oh my gosh. Those first 4 pages, wow, really set the scene. So good. Oh my gosh. I am so happy that each chapter, I'm assuming, is gonna have this unique illustration. The first one had like a goat on it, and this one has this like disturbing person melting. It's so cool. It is so beautiful. I mean, disturbing and weird, but freaking beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see what each chapter has illustrated on it. It's so cool. I wonder if it's like a glimpse into what we're about to get in the next chapter. So cool. What? Excuse me? Hi, hello friends. Welcome to the vlog. I wanted to pop in to give you a little update on my weekend so far. Yesterday was my company picnic, which was my first company picnic. I didn't go to the one last year. I was employed, but I had only been there like a couple weeks, so I didn't go. But it was so nice. It was nice like talking to everybody outside of work. We got some delicious barbecue and the place was gorgeous. We were there for a couple of hours yesterday. My mom also stopped by for a few hours yesterday, so that was nice visiting with her as always. This morning we did get our grocery shopping knocked out. I've been doing loads and loads of laundry. I got my run in. I wanted to go to the park, but it was raining, so I went to the gym, got my run in, did my stretching. I did some foam rolling. Oh my gosh, if you've never foam rolled, highly recommend. Like, it hurts, but in the best way. Anyway, that's not what you're here for, but I just wanted to give you a little update. Had a very productive weekend so far, and I did manage to get 80 pages into Slewfoot last night. I just reached chapter 4, and I actually did not realize that this was available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you were looking for somewhere to read this, it is available on Kindle Unlimited. I was not aware until I went to my library to try to check it out, and the wait list is a mile long. So I was looking for where else I could get it, and I usually don't have Kindle Unlimited. I have very few subscriptions, but I was served a promotion where it's like get your first 3 months free. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. I'll have my free 3 months. What a tongue twister. My free 3 months, and then I'll just cancel it. So what a deal. Love that. So I am reading this on Kindle Unlimited and absolutely loving it so far. The first 4 pages of this book set the scene so well. I was so impressed at that opening. That was probably one of the strongest openings I have read in a very long time, if not ever. We open up to this beast consuming this goat. And there are these little voices that are telling the beast, like, it's time to rise. You need more blood. Like, come on, let's go. But the beast is still just so disoriented, but he knows he is hungry. But the little voices assure him, like, we'll make you remember. Like, you'll remember who you are. You are the slayer. And it was just such a strong opening. It really set the tone and the mood. It's so gothic, so atmospheric. I am obsessed with the writing. Obsessed. It is set in 1666, so there is a little bit of that old English, but it is not so much as to be distracting. It's really digestible. I am also loving our main character, Abatha. She is just so strong-willed and she is so stubborn, which, you know, I can relate with a little bit. And she does not cower to these men. Like, she does not care because she did not grow up in this like Puritan village where she finds herself now. She grew up in England, so things are a little different. Granted, it's still the 1600s, so I mean, everyone is acting how you would expect people to act in the 1600s. You know, misogynist, using their faith as an excuse and allowance to do these terrible things to the people that they deem as sinners. Like, I'll give you an example. This man was tied to a post in the middle of town because he was late for church. He was like 5 minutes late to church. So he's like sitting in the middle of town tied to this post, and they're like throwing manure at him. And Abatha like tries to stop them and give him a blanket, and she is scolded because he is paying his penance to God for what he has done, and she is taking away from that. It's just, that is the setting that we are in. I mean, there's literally a man being quoted saying, "Angels must often do dark deeds in the name of the Lord," and that is really the vibe that we are in right now. So everyone in this Puritan village is pretty dreadful, all with the exception of Abatha's husband, Edward. After reading the synopsis of this book, I really thought that we were not going to get a chance to meet Edward. I thought that we were going to meet Abatha after she was already a widow, but I am so glad that we do get the chance to meet Edward and see Edward and Abatha's relationship and their life before everything starts declining. Edward is by no means perfect, but he is precious. He is such a sweetheart. He is a bit older than Abatha, but he has always been super respectful and he absolutely adores Abatha and her attitude. And Abatha loved him back. Like they really did love each other. Their relationship was really sweet. I'm so glad we got to see it. They live on their farmstead, which is on the outskirts of town, so they blissfully don't have to deal with people that often unless they're coming in, to go to their 3 times a week church sermons, and they had a good life together. But Edward was also a bit of a pushover, especially when it comes to his brother Wallace, who is an absolutely dreadful human being. We do get some major family drama with Wallace trying to come after Edward and Abatha's home. Edward and Abatha do win the first battle, but it is yet to be seen who will win the war in this land feud. But then heartbreakingly, after a chilling description of Edward's death, I won't say how he dies, but it is in the synopsis that he does pass away, so no spoilers. But his death scene was, it wasn't gruesome, but it was just so creepy. I don't want to say I enjoyed it, but it was so well written. And once Edward is gone, Abatha is really, truly alone and having to fend for herself. And throughout all of this family drama that I am so invested in, we are also getting glimpses at Slewfoot and his awakening. He has these 3 little creepy but kind of cute little animal, human, children hybrids. They are there helping him and guiding him. They are trying to get him to remember who he is and what his purpose is and why he has been awoken. But Slewfoot is kind of building himself out of nothing. He is very slowly materializing and forming his body and his mind. So he is very slow to remember anything. I am having to read these parts pretty slowly. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little confused about what's going on with Slewfoot and his past and his mission, but Slewfoot seems just as confused as I am, so I am confident that we will get explanations and his past and his mission will get expanded on, so I'm just kind of along for the ride right now. Slewfoot and Abatha did just cross paths, and it was very interesting, to say the least. I'm not really sure what happened, to be honest, but I just know that they seem to have some kind of connection. We don't know for a fact that Abatha has magic right now, but I'm pretty sure that's where this is headed. We learned that her mother had this recipe book that has been passed down from mother to daughter, and so forth. When Abatha's mother passes away, she does try to get her hands on her spell book for all intents and purposes, but her father destroys everything in her mother's little workshop, saying that it is the devil's work. He believes wholeheartedly that that is why Abatha's mother died, was because she invited the devil in with her spells and divination and charms. So he destroyed everything before Abatha could get her hands on it. Except for one thing. She swore to her father that she would not follow in her mother's footsteps, but that was before a literal demon came knocking on her door. I am absolutely hooked. I am loving the historical writing. I was a little worried that it wouldn't be for me because I don't read a lot of historical fiction, but the gothic, eerie atmosphere has really drawn me in. It is so good. And I'm sorry if you can hear little crunchy crunchies. My cat is playing with her little toy. Now you're going to stop. I am just so intrigued to find out more about Slewfoot's past and his mission to save this magical blood fruit tree and to see if there really is any connection between him and Abatha. From the synopsis, it did sound like Abatha and Slewfoot were going to become allies, so I absolutely cannot wait to see how that relationship develops and to see them absolutely wreak havoc together. My only slight complaint is that the chapters are so long. I am 80 pages in and I just reached chapter 4. So it took 80 pages to get through 3 chapters. It's not making the book drag at all. Like, it's not hindering the pace of the book. I just prefer shorter chapters. The pacing is honestly really great. I love that we are switching it up. We are getting perspectives from Abatha and Wallace in the village and kind of what's going on with them. But then we're also getting glimpses of Slewfoot and his 3 little helpers in the forest. I'm also a little salty about the long chapters because I want more chapters because I need more illustrations. These chapter illustrations, I showed it in my last clip when I started reading this. They are freaking gorgeous. They are haunting, but so beautiful. I actually looked up Brahm, and it turns out that he is the author and illustrator. So that is just so cool that he had these images in his head when he was writing it and then was able to actually illustrate them and create these characters both in word and in picture form. And they are gorgeous. Like, I want to go get prints of these to hang up in my house. I love them so much. So I am a little salty about the long chapters because I want more illustrations. Although I do prefer shorter chapters, I will say that I think the longer chapters are forcing me to read a little bit more than I would normally, because I'm the kind of person that I do not like stopping in the middle of a chapter. Like, I feel like I need to reach the next chapter before I am ready to quit reading. So I'll get to the point in like mid chapter where it's like, oh, I can put the book down, but I usually just push through until I get to that next chapter. So I do feel like it is helping me get through the book a little quicker, even though I do feel like shorter chapters go quicker. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a little bit of a contradiction, but I do feel like it's forcing me to read a little bit more because I need to get to that next chapter to be able to stop. So it is both good and bad, I suppose. But yeah, I am really loving it so far. It is so quintessentially autumn feeling. Like, the spooky gothic fall vibes are immaculate. Reading this just really makes me want to go like visit a pumpkin patch or do some apple picking or like visit a corn maze or go to Salem, Massachusetts. This does take place in Connecticut, so it is up in that New England area, and you can absolutely tell it is so giving the Salem witch trial vibes, and I just honestly cannot wait to read more. I have spent a lot of time editing today, so it is about 6 o'clock. There is football on tonight, so I will have some time to do some more reading. I'm gonna go make dinner and I might make some cookies. I got these pumpkin cookies that look so good, and it is just so hard to try to stay eating healthy when I am surrounded by pumpkin spice everything. Like, I am obsessed with pumpkin, and when everything is taunting me, it is just so hard to restrain, to be good. So I did break down and get some pumpkin cookies. So I might make some of those for a little after dinner treat, but we will see. I might be able to resist. Whether I will break down and make some pumpkin cookies for dessert is debatable, but what is not debatable is me reading more of this book tonight because I need more. I'm hoping to get a pretty good chunk done tonight since I don't have any plans after dinner but reading this book. So I will check back in with you when I have an update. Hi, hello, it's so good to see you again. You will be proud to hear that I have resisted the call of the pumpkin cookies. Maybe not forever, but for today, my willpower has won. Admittedly, someone did bring in some homemade banana bread to work, and that, my friend, I was not able to resist. It was so good. So good. So I resisted the pumpkin cookies call only to be thwarted by the banana bread. And if you happen to be thinking, is her hair wet? Yes. Yes, it is damp because I just got out of the shower, I did my workout, and my lovely husband is making us dinner. So I am in my comfy, cozy PJs, and I'm here to update you on Slewfoot. I only have 100 pages left, and I am still absolutely adoring this book. I am really loving the relationship, the friendship growing between Abatha and Slewfoot. They are both a little heartbreaking. Slewfoot wants nothing more than to learn who he is and who he was in his past, and he comes to Abatha trying to get some help because he feels something in her, a connection, a likeness, and he really thinks that she is the only one that can help him discover the secrets of who he is and who he was. And poor Abatha is just working her ass off. She is doing the very best that she can to try to save the only thing that she cares about that she has left, which is her farm. They are both downtrodden and lonely and in need of help, but with no one to turn to ask for it, until they find each other. The characters are so fleshed out. They are so dynamic. I love the characters so much, especially Slewfoot. His character is so complex. I'm really loving the duality of him. There is this constant struggle of his identity, and it is just so intriguing. He is being drawn and torn in these two different directions, and he can't decide whether he wants to be a god or a devil or somewhere in between. It kind of feels like he has this devil and angel on his shoulder constantly arguing. So like on one shoulder, we have his three little creepy companions that are telling him like, you need to bring blood, you need to bring sacrifice. And then on this side, you have Abatha and really himself, because helping Abatha is bringing him so much joy and pleasure and satisfaction, a lot more than killing ever did. But he is constantly feeling this pull to the darkness, and it is just so good. I am loving it so much. The side characters are also really well done. Like there are some that you just love to hate, and it actually is nice to see that some of the townsfolk, even though I thought at the beginning they were all just going to be horrendous, but it's nice to see that some of them are actually like kind of nice people, and they're just, you know, trying their best with what they've got. So I definitely appreciate the diversity of the side characters. They're not all, you know, terrible and someone to hate. And there is some imagery surrounding spiders in this that literally gave me chills, like heavy arachnophobia warning in this book. There were a few instances where they were having dreams and these spiders were covering their entire bodies and going into their like mouth, their ears, their nose, and they were like choking on them. And it was just so visceral and so gross. That is like one of my biggest fears, is even something so small like having a spider like stuck in my ear or swallowing one while I'm asleep. I just cannot. I cannot. So the scenes with the spiders like really hit me. They were so well described. Like you could feel them on you when you're reading these passages. Maybe described too well, some would argue. The same can be said about another scene with snakes and bugs. It was absolutely disgusting and really freaky to think about yourself in a situation like that, but I'm absolutely loving it. This mystery behind who and what Slewfoot is and was is also so intriguing. Not only am I flying through this because the writing is so beautiful, the atmosphere is immaculate, the conversations of identity and humanity are so interesting, but the mystery is so alluring. And speaking of the writing, it is so high quality. Like I am jiving with this writing so much. Like I mentioned, it does have that air of like old-timey English, but I am obsessed. I have highlighted so much in my ebook as I'm reading along because it is just beautiful writing. There's really not any I can share with you because they all kind of contain what I would consider to be a little spoilery, but just trust me, the writing is gorgeous. The last chapter answered a lot of questions, but there are still a few that I definitely have, and I'm just so hesitant to trust either party that is kind of persuading and pushing Slewfoot one way or the other. Like I feel like there is one that the book is trying to say like these are the good guys, and then there are the other group that is like these are the bad guys, but I feel like it's not going to be that black and white. And Abatha has been going through it. Like she has been going through hell, but her relationship with Slewfoot is really like keeping her afloat. It is bringing her such happiness and vitality, and she has really like grown into herself and her magic, and it has just been so lovely to see. The magic is another thing that I am really, really loving. It's very traditional, but I don't know, that kind of makes it feel real to me. Like it makes it feel that much more real. I feel like if magic were to exist in the real world, it would be this. Like the magic comes from the earth and from your ancestors. It's all about, setting intentions and offerings and sometimes sacrifice. And the vibes are just absolutely incredible. Like I said, there are still a couple of things that I am a little confused about. We don't quite have all the answers yet, but even if the book ends and we don't have all of these answers and it's not all like tightly wrapped in a bow, that would not hinder my enjoyment at all. But I am hopeful that in the last chapter, since we did kind of have these big reveals and a lot of questions were answered, that the pieces are really going to start to fit together. I do have a feeling that things are about to go downhill very quickly. Our girl Abatha is in it right now, and I feel like these last 100 pages are not going to be very nice to her. Mob mentality really is such like a strange and powerful thing, and it's so scary to see how quickly panic spreads. Like, yes, definitely in this book, but also just like in general, like that still happens today. Maybe not with pitchforks and torches, but they still happen today. But like I mentioned, I did kind of leave off on a cliffhanger, so I cannot wait to get back into this and finish these last 100 pages. I need to find out what becomes of our poor pair of lost souls. And there's just no chance, there's no shot that this is under 4 stars. Absolutely seeing it being bumped up to a 5, maybe a 4, 4.5. I'm not quite sure. We'll see how the ending sways my rankings. And I will check back in once I finish this up and let you know my final thoughts. I am so excited. It has been such a cozy read so far. I'm really hoping to finish it up tonight. I'm going to go have some dinner and then I have no plans but to cuddle up in bed in my cozy pajamas and just read. So I will let you know once I have finished. Hi, I am back. I have finished Slewfoot and I'm here to give you my final thoughts. I absolutely loved this. A shock to no one. This was absolutely fantastic. Those last 100 pages were so gruesome and dark and brutal, but freaking outstanding. These people spoke so much of deviltry and that witches were evil, but these God-fearing, God-loving townsfolk condemned this poor woman to such horrendous treatment, and they have the gall to say that she was evil. There was this part where they were really making an example out of this woman, and some people were watching with cruelty and enjoyment in their eyes, but it was the rest of the townfolk that really shook Abatha. There was this quote that said it perfectly. It says, Abatha could see that these people truly believed that they were doing God's work here this day. And there was something about these people that horrified Abatha, even worse than those whose faces were lined with cruelty, as at least cruelty was a thing that could be pointed out, confronted. But this belief, this absolute conviction that this evil they were doing was good, was God's work. How, she wondered, how could such a dark conviction ever be overcome? And it really does baffle me that these people were so deep in their conviction that they were doing what was best and what was right. And it just hurts my soul to think that this actually used to happen. But this topic of good versus evil really was done so brilliantly throughout multiple discussions in this book. There was also just so many unique aspects and ideas in this book. Even though the wildlings, which were Slewfoot's little 3 animal companions, even though they weren't really explained or expanded on, I thought them and the magic surrounding them was really interesting. The ending was just so beautifully poetic and the epilogue was absolutely beautiful. And the last few pages of this book actually had like full, complete illustrations of all of our main characters, and God, they were just so gorgeous. God, his artwork is just so stunning. I am definitely gonna have to take a look at his portfolio because his artwork is like exactly my style. I am always looking for more artwork that I can hang around my apartment, so if this man has prints, you can bet your ass that I'm going to have some. I, of course, do prefer originals. I mean, who doesn't? But they are usually a lot pricier and harder to get your hands on. I am proud to say that I do actually have a couple of original pieces hung up in my living room. I got them at a Krampus festival, actually. They're not related to Krampus, but this whole festival had so many talented vendors set up, and we found this one artist that my husband and I loved. There were so many pieces of his that we adored, but we ended up taking home 2, and it was worth every penny. Every time I look up at them, it just makes me so happy. Speaking of Krampus, actually, I think Brom has a Christmas horror that involves Krampus or something like Krampus, and I am so intrigued. I think Slewfoot is definitely Brom's most popular work. I haven't really heard anybody else talk about any of his other works, but I loved his writing so much. I will definitely be checking out more of his work. There are actually a few Christmas horror books that I have my eye on, so maybe I will do a Christmassy horror vlog in December. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. I think that just sounds like so much fun. But God, I loved this so much. I did have to slow my reading pace down a little bit, really just to, sink into the atmosphere and really soak up all that this book had to offer, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It was so worth it. I cannot not give this 5 stars. I highly recommend this book, especially if you like the dark gothic atmosphere. This seems just so steeped in folklore, and this is quite literally the perfect autumn Halloween read. I admit I haven't read many historical witchy books. Most of the witchy books that I have read in the past have been contemporary, but this one just set the bar so high. If this is what I've been missing out on, like, shame on me. I need to find more books like this. This was such a great start, and what a mood setter for the rest of the week. Absolutely loved. I think the next book I'm going to start is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I have such a hard time saying that. It's such a mouthful. The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I was going to go straight into The Year of the Witching because I enjoyed Slewfoot so much, but I feel like I might need to give a little buffer in between, and maybe that will help me not so one-to-one compare the two, because they do feel like they give very similar vibes. So I figured I would slide the little cozy contemporary witchy book in the middle. So that is what I'm going to be picking up next. I'm hoping to start it tonight, but if not, I will definitely start it tomorrow when I am getting ready for work, because I do have this checked out from my library on audiobook. This is another one that I have heard absolutely nothing but raving reviews, so I'm really excited to get into this next one as well. Hello friends, welcome back. I have started The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana this morning. I was listening to it while I was getting ready for work and to and from work, and I am loving this so far. I'm having such a good reading month so far, honestly. Like, everything has been banger after banger. I'm so happy. Granted, it's still early goings, but very good signs so far. The writing is so cozy. It's so whimsical. It's so much fun. It's even had me giggling at a couple of points. The writing is just so funny, and these characters are to die for. So let me tell you a little bit about it. So we are following Mika Moon. She is a really solitary, lonely witch. She's just kind of wandering through life at this point. She's 31, and she is a part of this little society of witches that she coined the Secret Society of Witches. They meet a few times a year to check in on each other and to share spells, but she wouldn't consider any of them really friends. This little society is led by an older witch named Primrose. She is actually the person who found Mika when she was small and had been orphaned, and she kind of took her under her wing. That may be overstating it a bit. By that, I mean that she took her into one of her little guest houses and provided her a carousel of ever circulating nannies. So with Primrose gone the majority of the time, and she keeps circulating and replacing these nannies, Mika is really left with a lonely and isolated childhood. And God, that's just so sad to think about growing up like that. And that isolation has really not gotten better for Mika as she's grown up. She does not stay in one place long enough to put down any roots or to make any friends. She doesn't want to grow attached to anybody because she does not want to have to inevitably lie to them about who she is, because the two main rules of this society, and it seems most of the witch world, is you keep that you are a witch a secret, and witches stay away from each other. Hence why Primrose was always gone during Mika's childhood, because apparently with the magic in this world, if there are multiple witches gathered for an exorbitant amount of time, the magic swells and it gets harder and harder to control the more power is in one singular place. But what Mika does have is an online community. She posts on social media about her witchy practice and expressing herself really the only way that she is able to. She thinks that there's no way that anybody is ever going to think that she is a real witch, seeing her online posting spells and giving tips. But someone does happen upon her videos that is able to see through her mask and to see that she actually is a real witch. And when this happens, she receives a message saying that a witch is needed to help come tutor these 3 young witches. And that is how we meet this charming little family at Nowhere House. I will give you a quick rundown of all of these lovely characters. So we have Ian. He is the one that saw Mika's videos and actually reached out to her. He is a super flamboyant retired actor. And then we have his husband, Ken. He's the groundskeeper. Always a pleasant surprise when we get some queer rep. We also have Lucy, who is the housekeeper. We have Jamie. He is the grumpy, broody librarian, and he is the girls' main caretaker. And of course, we have our 3 little witch girls. We have Rosetta, Altamira, and Terracotta. They are not actual sisters. They were brought in at different times throughout their lives, although they were all very young. So they have grown up with each other. So they really are a family and they do see themselves as sisters. And they are just all so adorable. I am just loving all of these characters so much. It is such a strong family dynamic that they have at this Nowhere House. I am already loving Jamie. I'm in love. I love him. I am so excited to get more into his past and to kind of have his personality open up a little bit, because right now he is just so broody and he is so protective of these girls. He does not trust Mika at all right now, but he'll get there. He will get there. I've already started to kind of see the wall coming down, not around Mika, but when he interacts with the girls, it is just so precious. And I truly cannot wait to see him and Mika's relationship really blossom and to see where that goes. I mean, we know where it's going to go, but how it develops, I'm so excited to see it. I love a grumpy sunshine, and that is absolutely the dynamic of these two. Mika's lessons haven't officially started yet. She did just get to Nowhere House. She's kind of settling in. She's getting to meet everybody, but she is already so good with these girls. I am already loving their dynamic. Even Terracotta, who is threatening to kill her in her sleep, she is not happy, to say the least, that Mika is there. But I think they're all going to really warm up to her, and I just can't wait to see how she gets enveloped into this little family unit. I also really enjoy that we do also have some danger and some stakes to this story. Like I said, when there are multiple witches present for a prolonged period of time, it is really hard to control the magic that accumulates around them. So having 3 young witches living together is a very precarious situation and immediately makes Mika very uncomfortable and is like, this probably shouldn't be happening. There's also this clock ticking over their head. There is this deadline that they have to try to meet to get the girls' power under control so they don't slip and show anything that they shouldn't. So there's always this slight little niggling of suspense of having all of this magic in one place and just waiting for the pen to drop to see if something catastrophic is going to happen. And we're also feeling the pressure of this deadline. So even though it is such a fun, light, cozy read, there is also some stakes, which I really enjoy. It's also got some really emotional themes of belonging and loneliness. Mika has been alone for so long, as most witches in this world are. Having all of this fantastical power is amazing, but it also is very isolating not being able to be around your own kind and having to suppress this secret your entire life. I think seeing these 3 young witches love each other so much and this whole family, it's really going to open her eyes and show her that there is another way to live. This really does have a little bit of everything for me so far. I'm also really liking the explanations of the magic and how the magic works in this world. We, of course, do have some of the, cliche staple things about being a witch in this story, but we also have some pretty unique things about this magical system and this world. I have absolutely 0 complaints so far. I am so excited to get back into this one. I'm so excited to learn more about each of these characters, to really see their personalities and their relationships grow, especially the romance. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the romance. I can already tell it's going to be such a good one. I am only about 30% of the way through, so a lot can change in that time. I am so optimistic though. I'm loving it so much so far. I'm really hoping that it continues to be such a success. I also have some very exciting news. I bought Halloween Horror Night tickets. I am so excited. I cannot express to you how excited I am. I have never been to Halloween Horror Nights before. I have went to many other surrounding haunts, but never, the main one, the big boy, the HHN. I am so excited. We get Terrifier, we have Five Nights at Freddy's, we have Fallout, we get a Jason house, which I just recently learned about. I am so excited. We only got tickets for one night, so I am nervous about being able to fit everything in, but we are going on a weeknight, so I'm really hoping that the crowds aren't as massive. I mean, I know it's still going to be absolutely jam-packed, but I'm just really hoping that we can get everything that we want to get done in a single night. But we shall see. Even if not, it's going to be an amazing time. So tonight I might put on my audiobook and start, planning the itinerary, because if you know me, you know that planning the trip is half of the fun of the actual trip. Granted, it's going to be a lot of looking at wait times and trying to get them at the lowest possible times, because you could wait in line for a haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights anywhere from, like 15 minutes to 2-3 hours, depending on the time and the house. So I really want to try to go in with a game plan. And we have just over a week before it is time to walk through the gates. So I need to do some planning. So that is the plan for tonight. I'm going to listen to some more of this audiobook and do some spooky planning. I probably won't get a chance to update later tonight, even if I do manage to get a good chunk of this read, but I do definitely plan on reading some more tonight, so I will let you know more thoughts tomorrow. Hi, welcome back, friends. I have finished The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and this was so cute. I really enjoyed Jamie and Mika's relationship. They were both very untrusting at first, but it was so cute to see the progression of them eventually letting their guards down and really letting each other in. I will say, although there were so many cute parts, at no point did this really have me like kicking my feet, giving me the, good fuzzy feelings. Don't get me wrong, they were so cute, and I love just a cute little romance, but I felt like even though it took them like 80% of the book to even get any kind of physical contact, I felt like their development was lacking a little bit. I think maybe that does have something to do with the fact that a lot of the time that they spent together was off page. We were just told that they were spending, almost every night together, drinking, getting closer. While Mika was doing her potions, Jamie would just kind of hang out with her, but we didn't get to witness any of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were a lot of great things that we did get to witness, and I really did enjoy the relationship. I love that they communicated so well with each other, especially after the conflict. And apart from the actual conflict, they were so open and honest with each other, which I absolutely love to see. Good communication skills is so underrated in romance. Like, we do not get enough. There's so much miscommunication, but I love when the two characters just kind of lay it all on the line and there is just great communication. I loved seeing Jamie's grumpy exterior kind of melt away, even though he remained snarky throughout the entirety, which was great. There was one steamy scene and I thought it was pretty well done. It was open door, but not explicit, which felt like it did fit the tone of the book really well. With the rest of the book having the kind of feel of fun and light, I think that the steamy scene did do a good job at reflecting that. It was also kind of light and fun, which I do absolutely have to give props to, because it is so weird to me when there is a like steamy scene and the rest of the book is so like light and fun, and then it just turns like really raunchy for the steamy scenes, or vice versa. Like everything else in the book is so like serious and melancholic, and then they're like laughing with each other in the steamy scene, which I guess that one's not as bad. It's more of a jarring experience when everything else is really jovial and fun, but then the steamy scene gets like really intense. But this did a really good job at fitting the theme with the rest of the book. But all this to say, even though I had to talk about the romance first because I'm a romance girly, the romance really wasn't the main focal point of the book. It really was more of a side plot. The main focus and where this book really shined was the family relationship. Even the third act conflict was not something just between Mika and Jamie. Like, it involved everybody. The love that these characters had for each other was so heartwarming. Mika really spent the majority of this book trying to convince herself not to get attached and to not get too comfortable, because in her entire life, she never really had anybody that loved her or a place that felt like home. And the idea of letting someone love her and giving them that much power over her absolutely terrified her. And that was another huge theme throughout this book. Mika really struggled with belonging and feeling like she was good enough for someone to love her, for anyone to want to stick around for the long haul, because no one ever has. And the discussions around living with and trying to overcome your past traumas, not just Mika's, but Jamie's, was a really big discussion as well. I thought those discussions were really well done. I loved all of the side characters. I thought that everyone was really distinct and had their own personalities, and the diversity was absolutely outstanding. So many different characters came from different cultures. We had multiple characters that fell into the LGBTQ community, and it really just felt effortless. Like, it didn't feel like the author was just kind of throwing in these people to tick off boxes. I do wish we got more of the girls though. They were just so adorable and sassy, and I loved them. So much of their dialogue had me just like giggling and smiling. Not just the girls either. Like, Ian had me cracking up a couple times, and Jamie's snarkiness and sarcasm had me chuckling. People outside are being loud. I do not appreciate it. Do they not know I'm trying to film? Youths. We didn't really get much from Ken or Lucy. Reminder, Ken is Ian's husband and Lucy was the housekeeper, but they were like really cute, supportive background characters. I will say the narrator made the youngest girl, Altamira, have such an annoying voice. It sounded like her head was clogged the entire time, like she was speaking through her nose, and it was so annoying. But other than that, one little note, the audiobook was really good. There was also just so much talk about the magic in this, which I really enjoyed hearing about. This book was not just about the witches, it was about the magic. We got to see a lot of the like slower, more mundane, everyday tasks of a witch. Like, we got to see a lot of potion brewing and spell casting and foraging, and it just made it feel that much more real, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well. You can absolutely tell that the author did her like witchy research. Something I didn't realize going into this was it actually takes place the majority in the wintertime. We actually get to see some snow, we get the winter solstice, and even Christmas, which, had I known this, I probably would have held off and waited to read this closer to Christmas, like in the winter season. So I'm not sure I necessarily agree with everyone pitching this as like a perfect fall read. I definitely think it's more of a wintry read. I mean, the witchy vibes were definitely autumnal, but I would recommend this more in the winter season if you are a seasonal reader. There were some great twists that I did not see coming towards the end of this book, although one of the choices that these girls made was absolutely wild. Bonkers, crazy town. I cannot fathom what brought them to make this decision. Like, I feel like this would have traumatized them, but they were so nonchalant about it. I guess the author was trying to be like silly kooky, but I don't know. It was just so weird. It made no sense. But the ending overall was really heartwarming and uplifting, not just for the family, but for like the entirety of the witch community. I know that I talk about this book a lot on this channel, and I know that I compare a lot of things to it, but this really was giving House in the Cerulean Sea. I comp it a lot because that is like my standard for contemporary cozy fantasy, and this was definitely giving those vibes, especially with the three spunky children. I loved these three little witches so much. They had so much attitude. They were just so cute. So if you did enjoy House in the Cerulean Sea, I would highly recommend this one as well. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm so glad I read it, even if it is more of a like Christmassy read. I had such a good time with it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. So cute, so cozy, so warm, so precious. Really enjoyed it. And I just want to say it is so fall today. Like today is, I know I've said this before, but today is really it's a perfect autumn day. It's not necessarily the perfect day because it is a little chilly. Since I moved to Florida, I have really adjusted to the heat and it just gets a little nippy and I'm like, I need a sweater. So I have been cold all day, but I love cuddling up in something warm while it is cold outside. My favorite sweater is unfortunately dirty. It is my Epic the Musical sweatshirt. I love it. It is so warm. It's so cozy. And it just makes me happy when I look down and see it. But I have the next best thing on. I have my Nickelodeon sweater on. So this will have to do. It is also pretty cozy. But Sydney and I had to go out and get some groceries for tomorrow because we are going down to my mom's to celebrate my mom's husband's birthday. So we are going to make them dinner and bring some desserts. And we are just going to, spend some time down there with them. But I was like freezing in the grocery store. It was so cold. I had a short sleeve shirt on for one. Terrible decision, but I was like standing by the heaters where they have the ready food to go and there was no food in there. So I wasn't like blocking anything, but I was like standing there like a rotisserie chicken, just trying to like warm up while Sydney looked around. But it is like so autumnal today and it is just getting me so much more in the vibe. I'm so ready for the haunted houses. I'm really hoping that we can find maybe like a pumpkin patch or something to visit this season as well. I just love this weather so much. I do need to be done with this vlog by the end of the weekend so I can start my next one. I am going to start the Year of the Witching. I'm really hoping that I can kind of like buzz through it. But if I need to push this back a little bit, that's not a huge deal. I would like to see how much I can get through with the Year of the Witching. I'd like to fit it in here. So we'll see how that goes. I am going to start that this evening. I also have this one checked out through my library to listen to audibly. So I will get a lot of audiobook listening. I haven't quite finished the HHN plan. I've kind of started it. I have a rough draft of a plan A, but I also kind of want to have a plan B in case the times are not aligning. So I do have a little bit more playing on there to do to try to get us as ready as possible when we walk through those gates on Thursday. So I'm hoping to get a good chunk of this listened to tonight. And then tomorrow, my mom lives about an hour and a half away. So that is also a great opportunity for me to get a lot of listening done. So I should be able to finish the Year of the Witching no problem before I need to be done with this vlog. So I will check back in with you when I get a little bit of the way through the Year of the Witching and with my initial thoughts. We are getting ready to head down my mom's, but I did want to pop in and give you a little bit of an update on the Year of the Witching. I was able to get 50% of the way through. I'm on part 2. It is decent so far. I'm having a really hard time not comparing it to Slewfoot and it just is not holding up. The writing is just nowhere near as good as Slewfoot was. And I know I shouldn't compare the two, but it's so hard when I just read such a fantastic book in Slewfoot, and this is very similar, but I am going to try not to compare it too much. There were a lot of characters introduced in the beginning of this, and I am having a little bit of a hard time kind of keeping track who everyone is. It is also reading very YA. There is not a lot of character depth. The writing is just okay so far. It's nothing special. It is very autumnal, and it has had some spooky parts, which I have enjoyed. I just said I wasn't going to compare, and I'm not comparing, but this is another, like Puritan village, but this village's faith seems to be a little bit more extreme. I mean, this church is performing animal sacrifices, and it is custom to carve these symbols into your forehead to symbolize, important changes in your life, like if you were to get married. So there are some definite major differences between these two Puritan villages. Please hold for the motorcycle. I do like the glimpses of the witches that we've had so far. There are 4 original witches that were like cast into the woods by the original prophet. I don't remember all of their names. I do remember Lilith. She is like the mother. And then we also have one that resides in this lake. And then we also have the 2 lovers. Emmanuel has I believe, met all of them at this point, other than maybe Lilith, and she has been gifted her mother's journal. She's learning a lot about her mother and especially her father, who I don't believe she's ever met, through her mother's journal. So I am enjoying getting that glimpse of her history through that. And the end of this journal kind of had this ominous warning. So I am interested to kind of see how that is going to play out. I mean, we're already kind of seeing how it's playing out, but I am interested in that aspect. I am also liking the friendship and kind of forbidden romance that we're getting between Emmanuel and the prophet's son, Ezra. Ezra seems to be really sweet. He is nothing like his father, and when he takes over as prophet, he really wants to make Bethel a better place. And even though she is an outsider, her father being from the outskirts, where all of the people that have a different color skin than the Puritans are shunned to, Ezra has really taken a liking to her. And his father, the prophet, is absolutely disgusting. Another instance of a man in power taking what he thinks is rightfully his. And of course, he's a polygamist, so he has multiple wives, some barely being over the age of 18, because, I mean, why wouldn't he be a polygamist? And Emmanuel is really struggling with the fact that her best friend, really her only friend, is the prophet's newest bride. Again, it's okay so far. I'm just not really vibing with the writing. I don't find myself really connected or invested in the story or the characters. There are these plagues that the witches in the woods seem to be calling down, and they're pretty cool. I'm excited to see how each of the different plagues plays out. So yeah, it's decent so far. I honestly thought about like 25% of the way through DNFing, but I was like, no, I'll give it a little bit more, and I have gotten into it a little bit more, but it's still just okay. Like I said, we are getting ready to head to my mom's for her husband's birthday party. So I will be listening to this on the way down and on the way back. So hopefully I can, if not finish this up on the drive, get nearly there so I can finish it up tonight. And I will be back with my final thoughts. Hello, friends. Welcome back. We got home super late last night from my mom's. There was a huge car wreck. So a trip that usually takes us an hour took us over 2. So we didn't get home until late last night. So I did not have a chance to update you, but I did manage to finish The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. Before I get into my thoughts on that though, I do have a package that I would like to open. My mom surprised me with this Halloween tree. My sister actually bought it. She works for QVC, so she gets so many cool things on discount. So she got all of us these trees and my mom nabbed me one. So we're gonna open it up and take a look, see what it looks like. Let me get you at a better angle and we are gonna take a look. Please don't judge my knife skills. Okay. Should we read the instructions? Do we need the instructions? Let's just take a gander. Oh, we have bubble wrap. So nice. Okay, looks simple enough. Taller than I thought it'd be. Okay. And then we just, oh, I see. Okay. We got it. How cool. Oh my gosh, it has little kitty cats on it. Are we ready? Are we ready to turn it on? It's so cute. I love it. Look how pretty. It has like little kitty cats on it. It's like 7 feet tall. How freaking cute. I love it. Well, we are just going to sit right here next to this beautiful dark cat tree, and I will give you my update on The Year of the Witching. I really needed this because this gave me joy. whereas The Year of the Witching, unfortunately, did not. I really wanted to like this so much. Like, the premise sounded so good. The cover is freaking beautiful, but this just was not for me. I mean, it was decent. I was a little bit more invested in the second half than I was the first half, but at no point did this ever grip me. I don't know. I felt like a lot of things towards the end were just really convenient. I did like the final battle. I thought it was pretty well done. I was feeling a little bit of like dread and suspense, even though I do wish that the book went in a little bit of a different direction. Like, I'm not a huge fan of like the actual content of the ending and kind of where they took the witches and how their story ended. The romance was a pleasant surprise. I was not aware going into this that we were going to have this romance side plot, but there was just absolutely no lead up to it. There was no substance. We were given zero context as to why Ezra was even drawn to Emmanuel and kind of what they saw in each other, and their readiness to sacrifice so much for each other just felt like it came out of nowhere. And I do get why some of the characters did what they did, but I just did not care. I could not care less. And if I don't care about the characters, it's really hard for me to care about anything else that's going on in the story. The characters just felt so flat. They were so one-dimensional. I did think some of the aspects of the magic system and how this magic worked was interesting. The dark, magical gothic tone was very autumnal. And the ideas behind the plot and the plot points sound like great ideas, but I just was not a fan of the execution. Unfortunately, there really just wasn't enough of anything for me to get pulled into this one and to enjoy it. I think I'm gonna land on a 2.5 star for this one. I hate to end on such a low note, but they can't all be winners. Also, why do I feel so bad giving a book a 2.5? Like, I feel like that is so low, and it's really not. And it wasn't a bad book. There are so many reviews on Goodreads of people loving this. It just was not for me. But anything below a 2-star just feels like I'm being so harsh. But a 3 to me is something that I still enjoyed. Like, I'm glad I read a 3-star. It was middle of the road. It was good. I liked it. So I feel like giving this a 3 is not being honest, because there were definitely more things that I did not enjoy about this than what I did enjoy. So I think a 2.5, I mean, maybe even a 2 somewhere, like a 2.5 is accurate. I just feel like I'm being so mean. Overall though, I had a pretty great reading week. Although we did end on a 2.5, we also got a 4-star and a new 5-star, so fantastic. Cannot complain about that. I also found 2 new authors that I will absolutely be looking out for in the future. Songu Mandana, the author of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, actually just had a release. It's, I think, in the same universe. It doesn't have the same characters as The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, but it is in the same world. So I'm super excited to check that out and get to add that to my TBR. And I am immediately going to Brahm's backlist and seeing what he has, because like I said, other than the Krampus one, I have no idea of any of his other works. So I am definitely going to peruse and see what piques my interest, because I need more of his writing and illustrations. So I am absolutely going to consider this witchy vlog and little author taste test as a success. I just realized that every single book that I have read this month has been a super strong feminine led story, and I'm just loving so many of them. And if you want to check out some of the other amazing female-led stories that I have read this month, you can check out last week's vlog where I read some feminine horror books, and spoiler alert, it went fantastic. Definitely let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. Let me know what your favorite witchy book is. If you do read witchy stories, I am always appreciative of any recommendations. And if you've made it this far and don't know what else to say and you want to let me know you were here, leave some witchy emojis down in the comments. Give me some black cats, some crystal balls, some witch hats, some wands. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me for a week. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. I truly hope you are having such an amazing Halloween autumnal season so far. I hope you are loving what you are reading lately, and I hope to see you very soon for another spooky video. Bye, friends.